Father, we just pray for Courtney as she comes to share right now. Lord, we just thank you for the gospel in which we all stand here today, the freedom that we can enjoy because of the bread, the wine, what that symbolizes today, God. Your body broken, your blood shed. And thank you that it is in that power and that freedom that Courtney can stand today. And I pray, Lord, that you would bless her, that you would anoint her, God, and that you would just refresh this whole house, God, today, from the youngest to the oldest, Lord, in this building, because of the ministry that she brings now to us, oh God. In your name we pray. Amen.
Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon. We're 5 minutes in. I was going to start today with a game, but the person I'd asked to do it with me isn't here. I was going to play a game of charades. Does anyone want to volunteer? No? Come on, Robert. This might be controversial because we're going to do a game of charades. There's going to be a picture that comes up in the background, and yous are going to be acting out. I've got some clothes that he'll have to put on to prepare himself for whatever. But I've raided my own wardrobe for this. So, yeah, I don't want us to have a reputation of, let's just move on. Yeah, we'll just cut the recording for that. Thank you for being so willing, Robert. So, you should have got hope to do it. But you're stepping up, and that's the main thing. So, I've packed my little case today, and I've got some items in it. So, we've got a summer hat, a winter coat. Are you going to put these all on? You're lucky I'm not very girly. A scarf. This is a bit of a lighter coat, but it's a bit of a cape. I've also got some sun cream. I'm not saying you put it on, but it's just a prop. You'll not find any in there. And we've got an umbrella. I'm going to ask you, would you mind standing there? Because some of this is a 5-day experience. So you will need to help them out a wee bit, especially when the rain comes. So, Jamie, could you put the first picture up? Okay. You've cheated already because you've got it all on. You're supposed to, they're acting it out and you're putting it on. Oh, sorry. Take it off, yeah. Take it off? Yes. Now you know what the items are, so you are prepared. I was just checking that screen wasn't on so you couldn't cheat. Just don't look behind you. I'm going to say nothing, but I've played games with the Stuarts before. Okay. Right. If you stand here, there. You're tall. Yeah, you're tall. So I'm just going to do 3, 2, 1 and use act out what props he needs. Is that okay? Right. 3, 2, 1. Is there anything else you'd need? No, he's okay. He's dressed all right for this one? Okay. What's the next picture, Jamie? Oh, do you wish you were there?
Oh, I need some sun cream. Did he sell me sun cream? Right, put that on.
You don't need the umbrella anymore?
All right, so get rid of it?
Yeah. I know that's allergy one. You don't get any nonsense with that. Well done. What's the next picture? Do you think he's prepared in what he's wearing for this? Could he maybe do with something else? Try getting your arms into that. I dare you. That's very wise.
Here, and if I had that there, it would look like it's from the 50s.
Beautiful. What's next? Oh. Did you see Hannah's signal there? Right, we're on to a new picture.
We'll put the scarf on, is it? No, is it? It looked like Hannah was putting more.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What else could help? Mm-hmm.
Maybe we have.
Yeah.
We need the umbrella as well.
No. You're all good. Well done, Robert. You can take your hat off. Okay.
Oh, the big coat. Big coat.
Mm-hmm.
Big coat. This is more like a continental quilt, to be honest.
I know. It's like a duvet. Is it colder than that?
Oh, we need the scarf as well. Brilliant. Brilliant. Blue scarf. Up there.
I don't. That would help because I don't have a hat. Well done. I think you're prepared for that. You can take those off. I'm roasting just watching you. I'm glad I picked the injured party today. Dear love you.
Only a broken knuckle. The wee coat or the big coat? The wee coat? You know, they're just wee coat. That's cheap. We've all gone green today.
It's my favourite colour, can you tell? Lovely. I think that would be you prepared. You ready?
I could have just pulled the coat over my head.
That would have been good.
Was it very cold? Scarf or coat? Scarf? Coat, big coat?
You're at the top of the morns for this one.
Well, the top of the morning, so
Yeah. It's probably January.
right, so here's what we'll do. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this.
Perfect. You are prepared. That is brilliant. Thank you so much, Robert.
Sorry, Courtney. Sorry.
I'm so glad I straightened my hair today. So, you might have guessed that when we're talking about seasons today, I just wanted to start in a silly way that we can have a wee bit of a laugh. I don't know about yous, but over the last few weeks, see, going out in the morning, it's been an absolute nightmare. You go out and you think, oh, it's warm. You've got your sandals on, you're ready to go, and then you're freezing. And there's something about being prepared and knowing what season you're in. And that's some of what I'm wanting to talk about today. So when I started preparing for this, I came across a little verse in chapter 8 of Genesis. It's right at the end. And it says, as long as the earth remains, there will be planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night. So this verse comes at the very end of the story of Noah and the flood. So it's pretty much the beginning of civilization 2.0. So why at this stage did God stress the importance of seasons? I just did a bit of a Google search about this and heard that scientists have said that without seasons, not only would there be less variety in plant and animal life, but it's possible that life wouldn't exist at all. If there was no seasons, our Earth would not be at a tilt. Without seasons, humanity would struggle to survive. Not just humanity, but every living thing on Earth. Not only would food be a problem, but almost all species would be dying out fast. So seasons are so important. Recently, I had been listening to a podcast, and it was a pastor, and he was talking about seasons. And he told a story about how one July, he told a story about how he was asked to go and speak in Brazil, and he was asked to go in July time. So he was so excited. He was ready to suffer for the cause and go to Brazil and speak for the Lord. So in his preparation, he packed his bag. He put all of his summer clothes in. He was ready to go. And when he arrived, he realised that Brazil in July is their coldest season. It's bang smack in the middle of their winter and their rainy season. And he said, I arrived and I wasn't prepared. But one thing he said was, winter isn't a problem for me. I can do winter when I know it's winter. I know how to dress. Like Robert, you know exactly what to put on you when you know it's winter outside. But when you are in a season that you don't know it's that season, sometimes we're not prepared. So it's so important to know what season we're in. There's a verse in Jeremiah 8, verse 7. It says, even the storks in the sky know their appointed seasons, and the dove and the swift and the thrush observe the time of their migration. But my people do not know the requirements of the Lord. So there was a guy who had wrote a commentary on this verse, and he had said, Jeremiah contrasts between the instincts of birds who recognize the changing seasons and adapt accordingly. Sometimes, I speak for myself, but sometimes I lack the discernment in the season that I'm in to be attuned to what God's timing and what his purpose is in the midst of life as it's changing. There's times when it's easy for us to tell what the physical season is outside. There's times where you're seeing the leaves falling off the trees. There's times where you see the snow and you know you're in autumn or you're in winter. And there's other times where, about 2 weeks ago, there's hail in April. And you're like, what is going on? What is happening? Not only are the seasons important for growth and survival, but recognizing what season we're in is important so that we can equip ourselves, prepare ourselves, and give us the best chance of growing and thriving and surviving and getting to the next season. So the story he had told had stuck with me, and he went on to highlight 2 things and ask 2 questions, which I'm going to ask of us today. So what season are you in as an individual? But also what season are we in as a church? And what is God's purpose? The verse we'd looked at in the beginning was at the end of the story of Noah, so I'm just wanting to compare a little bit in seasons and also the seasons that Noah walked through. God was really clear with Noah what the purpose of the season he was in was for. Sometimes it's not as clear for us. But in Genesis 6, verses 5 to 6, it says, the Lord observed the extent of human wickedness on the earth. He saw that everything they thought or imagined was consistently and totally evil. The Lord was sorry he ever made them. It broke his heart. And then God had communicated that with Noah. God has purpose in every season. Often his purposes are bigger than us. But when we're walking with God, we get to partner in his purposes. So it's easy for me to say, what season are you in? But what does that actually mean? So much of the Bible is written in like an agricultural age. So I thought, I know looking at me, I'm not the type of person who knows a whole lot about farming, but I thought, you know what, let's do a bit of a dive into it and look at what do seasons look like agriculturally and in farming. So I'm just going to start with the season that we're in right now. So we're in spring. This is quite a broad overview, so it'll not cover everything, but spring is a planting season. At that time, crops are planted in the fields and maintained using fertilizer and herbicides. This is a really exciting season for livestock, as many young are born at this time. The planting season for us could look like starting something new. It could look like starting a new job, starting exams or studying, or just God's asked you to do something and you're starting it, or you're starting a business, or it's planting, it's putting the things in the ground. For Noah, the planting season starts with a request from God. Noah, build a boat. I love Noah's example throughout the story, and repeatedly you see when God asks him to do something, his response is, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Anyone else want to live in that obedience? That when God asks you to do something, you do everything as he commanded? Starting something new can be really exciting, but it's not always an easy task. We first hear about Noah in Genesis chapter 5, and in verse 32 it says, after Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. God made a covenant with Noah and told him that he would save his wife, his sons, and their wives. If Noah had his sons after he was 500 years old, and he got on the boat when he was 600 years old, I'm no mathematician, but there's a 100-year gap there. There's a lot of scholars that have different opinions on how long it took for Noah to build the boat. Some say 120 years, some say a maximum of 75 years. Either way, that is a really long time to be investing in something. And I think the reason why Noah kept going was because he knew what God's purpose was in the season that he was in. I wasn't planning to say this, but this morning on my way here I got diverted because there's a big event happening today, the marathon, and I was coming from Belfast. And when we use Google Maps, something we have to do is put our location in and put where we're going in. And normally we have a purpose for that journey. And sometimes we just need to come to God and say, God, where am I? Where am I going? And what is your purpose in that journey? What are you wanting to do with us? So summertime, is anyone's favourite season summer? Yeah, same. I love summer. Summer is the growing season. During the summer months, farmers will monitor the crops, maintain weeds, fertilise, and do pest management. Hay bales are collected during that time in preparation of the rest of the year. Again, farmers will monitor livestock, particularly because of the temperature changes. They'll monitor the animals. For me, summer is my physical favourite season and probably spiritually least favourite season. It's the time where you have planted something. If you have planted something in the ground, a lot of the time you can't see it. You can't always see the growth. You have to wait. You have to feed it. You have to do some pruning. So James chapter 1 verse 4 says, let perseverance finish its work in you so that you may be mature, complete, and not lacking anything. I don't know about you, but I don't want to get frustrated in the planting season and not learn what God has for me to learn in that, to not grow the perseverance, to not come out the other side lacking things because I've got frustrated with the waiting and the growing and all of what goes with the summer season. There's a line in the song Waymaker, which we might sing later, and it's just been swirling around in my head all week, and it's I think a bit of a tag, and it says, even when I don't see that you're working, even when I don't feel that you're working, you never stop working. I just think that's amazing, because we can go through seasons that are hard, and sometimes a confusing season can be more difficult than a hard season. And sometimes in that season of summer when we've planted and the excitement of the planting has gone, we're in the growing season, but we haven't got to the reaping, we haven't got to the reward, we can get frustrated. And I just really want to encourage everyone today that don't give up in the waiting. Don't give up in the season that's hard when you're not seeing what you've planted and you're not seeing the result of what you're waiting for. Keep going. Do not give up. I really wish I had known this about 6 months ago, because I was in a season where I was just really frustrated and asking God, what are you doing? What is going on? What am I at? And it's so important to have people around you when you're in those seasons who'll encourage you and speak into the season that you're in. And at the end, we're going to spend a little bit of time responding to God. Some of the ways that we're going to respond is through worship, and another way is we're going to give people the opportunity to be prayed for. And I just love that we can stand with each other in those seasons and we can encourage each other. So if you'd like to be prayed for later, please do that. So part of Noah's summer season was going into the ark. And God said, Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. And Noah did all that God had commanded. In Genesis 7:11-12, it says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of heaven were opened, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. For 40 days and 40 nights, the flood kept coming on the earth. And as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountain to a depth of more than 15 cubits. Every living thing that moved on land perished, birds, livestock, wild animals, and all the creatures that swarm over the earth and mankind. During this season, Noah and his family were on the boat. They couldn't do anything else apart from monitor and prepare. In autumn, I know for Kelly that's her favourite season. Is anyone else an autumn person? Is it because of the clothes you get to wear in autumn? Yeah, love it. During autumn time, farmers get to see the reward of their growing efforts over the year. Harvest is a difficult but rewarding time of the year. I love harvest. I love seeing the rewards of the hard work I've put in. I feel like even in life now, I'm starting to see that with my house. I've been renovating for over 2 years, and I've just moved in a few weeks ago, and I'm starting to enjoy the reward of what I've invested in and the hard work I've put in. And there's still plenty of work to do. But do you know what? I'm getting to start to enjoy it. And see, when you start to see those shoots and you start to see things are ready for reaping and ready for harvest, it's so exciting. So I don't know anyone that doesn't love harvest. It's great. It makes me ask the question of, is the quality of the harvest influenced by the quality of the growing? I'll just leave that with you. Noah's harvest starts to be seen in Genesis 8:1-5. It said, but God remembered Noah. I'm sure he was thinking, thank goodness God remembered him, because he'd been in a boat floating about with his family. Has anyone ever been on holiday with their family? You're thinking, yeah, he did it for a year. So God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and livestock that were with him in the ark. And he sent a wind over the earth, and the waters receded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of heaven had been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. The water receded steadily from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the water had gone down. And on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountain of Ararat. The water continued to recede until the 10th month, and on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains became visible. I love a wee fun fact, and I learned some of these when I was researching for this. Do you just want to hear them? Yeah, okay. Did you know that in the Sahara Desert, there's a place called the Valley of Whales, and they've found full whale skeletons? What business do whales have to be in the Sahara Desert if there wasn't a flood and the waters came down and that's where they were? Also, on Mount Everest, they've found fish fossils. Yet again, what business have fish fossils to be there? I sometimes think the story of Noah seems a bit unbelievable. Like practically, when you think about it, a 500-year-old man built a boat and then sort of restarted humanity. And there is just so much evidence of its truth. So I do have more fun facts. If you want to hear them after, you can ask me. So harvest. Genesis 8, verses 15-17. Then God said to Noah, come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds and the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply on earth and be fruitful and increase in number. So Noah's family were saved. Could we be in a season of harvest where we're starting to get to enjoy some of what we've planted and grown? What about the final season, winter? Finally, we've got winter. Sometimes in farming they call this the off season, but I don't really like that because I feel like it's a wee bit too passive. But winter can be a time in agriculture for rest and reflection for farmers, for reviewing their plans for the year ahead. It's also a time where farmers fix equipment and prepare for the next season. Like, when I was reading that, I was thinking that's very spiritual for a thing about farming. Maybe we're in a season where things have slowed down a little bit, where it's a time for rest and it's a time for fixing and repairing and preparing for what is next. I love Noah's example in this season because when he gets off the ark, it says in Genesis 8:20 to 21, then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and taking some of the clean animals and clean birds, he sacrificed the burnt offerings. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, never again will I curse the ground because of humans. Even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood, never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. There's a commentary by a guy, Matthew Henry, and he had said, Noah has gone out into a desolate world where one may have thought his first instinct would be to prepare like a house for himself. He's just got off the boat. It's time to go and make a house, settle himself. But instead, his first instinct is to worship God. His first instinct is to build an altar to God. So maybe the season you're in is a bit slower. Maybe it's for that rest and repair. But in every season that we're in, we have an opportunity to worship God, whether it makes sense or it doesn't make sense, whether it's really clear, the leaves are falling off the trees, or you're thinking, what is going on? We get to worship God. So to overview, spring is a planting season, summer is growing season, autumn is harvest, and winter is for rest and repair and maintenance. So just to look back at the very first verse that we looked at, it says, as long as the earth remains, there will be planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night. As long as the earth remains really means that the earth won't always remain by saying that statement. And I had seen a video a while ago, and it was Tom Hanks who was talking to some younger actors. If you know Tom Hanks, he did the voice of Woody in Toy Story and Castaway, and yeah, he's quite well known. But during the conversation, he said one piece of advice that he wished he had known was that this too shall pass. He said, when you get the part, when life is going great, when your family's well, when you're on cloud nine, this too shall pass. But also when you're not well, when just you feel like life couldn't get worse, when you don't understand what season you're in, this too shall pass. It's not going to be like this forever. So hold on in the season that you're in. If you're in a season that's great, be grateful. If you're in a season that's hard, this too shall pass. It's not going to be like this forever. Yesterday, I was in a hospital. I was visiting someone, and I was standing in the lift, waiting for the doors to close, and I don't know, they take an age. So I was standing there, and this mum walked by with her little daughter, and the daughter said to her, Mum, when does the hospital close? And the mum said, love, the hospital never closes. And it just, something in that statement just hit me, that, do you know, while these seasons continue, there's always going to be pain, there's always going to be sickness, there's always going to be, there's going to be what happens when we're in a fallen world. But this too shall pass. So keep going. Please do not give up in the season that you're in. Please don't get derailed by confusion. And please don't feel like you need to do it on your own. One of the things I haven't really focused a lot on is that, apart from saying about the holiday with family, but Noah wasn't on the boat on his own. He was there with him, his wife, and his sons, and their wives. And I know it was a silly game at the start, but I deliberately chose to do that game because Robert couldn't see what season he was in. But yous could. And you could speak into that and encourage him and make sure that he was prepared so that he wasn't going out and getting frostbite or wasn't getting sunburn. There is so many benefits from having other people in your seasons. And I have benefited so much from the support of people in this church who have been able to be present in seasons and be able to encourage and say, do you know what? This too shall pass. You'll not be there forever. Who have been instrumental in the, let's spend some time talking about God together. Let's spend some time growing. So that when, honestly, without the people who have invested in me in this church, I genuinely would not be standing here talking about this today. So let other people be part of your story. Let them invest in you so that they can celebrate when the harvest comes. But they can also walk through the winter and through the summer seasons with you. So keep going. We're just going to go into a bit of a time of response now. As I said earlier, we're going to give people the opportunity to be prayed for. There's going to be some of the prayer team at the back. We're going to have Derek and Lisa and Elaine. So just where you would normally get a donut, if you would like someone to pray for you, if you go there, someone would be really happy to just stand with you in the season that you're in and encourage you. Also, if you feel that there's someone on your heart who's in the room, feel free to go and ask them, can you pray for them and can you stand with them? And anyone who doesn't want prayer, we're just going to respond to God in worship. So Hannah's just going to come now, and the prayer team are going to go to the back. And then after a while, Hugh will just bring us to a close. So thank you so much.